everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I have decided to do another one of my dragon varieties inspired by tea. Now I recently did one not too long ago, and usually I do like to spend a little bit more time in between so that it doesn't get sort of stale. However, I recently got really inspired to draw a specific dragon. Now on my last video of the tea dragon types, I actually got a comment by Orbital Arrow. Now they said maybe Oolong would make an interesting dragon, as the tea is often referred to as between green and black tea. Now when I read that comment, I kind of got inspired a little bit. When I thought of in between green and black, I sort of envisioned a dragon that is a very, very dark sort of green color. And I don't know, I just really like the idea of doing that. Now, I obviously had to research Oolong Tea a little bit because I didn't want to know nothing about this tea and just draw a dragon variety that I didn't know about. So I actually decided to, research it a little bit, and yeah, Oolong Tea is actually pretty interesting. Now, Oolong is a traditional semi-fermented Chinese tea produced through a process including withering the plant under strong sun and oxidizing it before curling up the leaves and twisting them. And what's actually pretty interesting is that the name Oolong Tea came into the English language from the Chinese name, and that basically means black dragon tea. Now, to be honest, for this project that I'm doing, Oolong seems to be perfect because black dragon tea? Come on! So yeah, I actually took that in mind when drawing this dragon. I tried to give it little aspects of it that sort of hinted to the tea varieties. As you can see, this dragon is very long and twisty, and its tail is all curled up. That's hinting to the fact that the tea leaves themselves are twisted and curled up instead of crushed or chopped. And yeah, I actually gave the dragon sort of little, I don't know what to call it, frills or bits that are coming off the dragon, sort of. I'm going to say they're sort of like a sort of type of frill, except they're kind of more droopy. Now, I actually did that on purpose because I wanted to hint to the fact that the oolong plant, the tea plant, is wilted under strong sun before being, processed into tea. So I wanted to hint to that. So as you can see, there's sort of like leafy parts on its tail and on its head that sort of like droop down as if it's a sort of wilted leaf. Now for the inking phase of this artwork, it was pretty straightforward. I just sketched it out onto a piece of paper, and then I actually blew it up a little bit larger using Photoshop and printed it out larger. Now I actually want to mention that I actually decided to draw this artwork on a different sort of shape of paper. Now I did use an A4 piece of Express blending card, however I sort of chopped off the top of it, and that's mainly because I wanted a sort of more wider, longer format. I didn't want to stick between A4. I don't really want to change my art to suit the size of the paper. I would rather change the size and the shape of the paper to improve my art. So I actually decided that this was more fitting for the artwork. Now for the colors here, I'm just going over with my first layer, and I'm just using a mix of BG75 Abyss Green, BG78 Bronze, and G16 Malachite or Malachite, or I think it's Malachite. I'm not sure. I recently got a comment saying that I pronounced that word wrong, so I'm sorry for that. I've never heard that word pronounced out loud before, so yeah, we learn new things every day. Now for the highlights on the dragon's face and on its body, I also used G14 Apple Green. Now I really do like this color. It's sort of a really rich, sort of bright green, and yeah, I actually really do like that color. Now for the scales of this dragon, I wanted to try and do something a little bit different to what I usually do, because I don't usually like to do the same thing over and over again. I kind of like to mix it up a little bit. So for the scales of this dragon, I wanted it to look sort of like a leathery, like a sort of lizard skin type thing, like crocodile skin or something. I didn't really use a reference or anything like that, but I just kind of wanted a different aesthetic. So actually, as you saw during the inking phase, I just used a very thin multiliner just to draw some sort of squiggly lines throughout the dragon and sort of cross them and stuff. And that was mainly to give sort of a guide for me shadowing, as well as, you know, starting off the details. Now once I got that first layer of color down, I went over with Prussian blue, which is B39, and I sort of just did a rough covering of that. Now I just went over all of those squiggly lines again, and that kind of gives it a little bit of shadow and ends up making the colors underneath pop really nicely, and I feel that it gives it a really nice sort of contrasty lizardy pattern, which I actually really like. Now I was actually really nervous doing this because I've never done that sort of style of scales before. However, I really do like it, and it's really interesting to look at, and I think it looks pretty nice. After that, I gave the dragon yellow eyes because I felt that that would stand out nicely on the dragon's green body, and I actually gave it a little bit of a smoke blowing out of its mouth there, just because, you know, dragons can breathe fire, so I wanted this guy, you know, huffing a bit of smoke out of his nostrils or mouth or whatever. And after that, I actually decided to go in with the background. Now I did do the sky first before doing the dragon. However, I was really excited about doing the dragon, so I did the dragon first and then finished off the background with the ground. Now with the sky, I mainly used I believe frost blue, and then just a little bit of colorless blender to blend in the clouds. And for the ground, I actually used burnt umber, sand, and obviously honey, which is one of my favorite colored markers. After that, I decided I wanted a little bit more darkness at the top of the sky, just to sort of balance the artwork, because there's a lot of deep colors in this artwork, and I didn't want to leave that sky open and light. I wanted a little bit more detail and defined. I didn't want to add too much detail because in my last dragon video I felt like I went a little bit too crazy with the background, and it sort of detracted from the dragon a little bit. So obviously I wanted to keep this dragon in focus and keep the background a little bit more simple. After that, I decided to go over with some pencils and some gel pens just to add a little bit of highlights and defining parts. Yep, and now I'm just using my gel pen to add a little bit of a, what's it called? I know the word, but I can't really think of it. It's like a sort of highlight around the outside of the dragon's body, just to give it a little bit more of a sort of dynamic look, if you get what I mean. Now I was careful to make sure that those highlights stayed on parts where the dragon's scales were, so that I didn't wreck that nice texture. And yeah, this artwork was a lot of fun, and I actually had a really good time drawing this. It felt kind of refreshing doing a different shape artwork. It's not A4, it's almost like 16 by 9, but I don't know if that's correct. I'm just saying, like, the format of the video, like, see the paper kind of fit perfectly in that frame, so it actually looked really nice, and yeah, I had a lot of fun recording this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and please if you like my channel, support my channel by watching another video in the cards. And yeah, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!